Kirsten, the problem solving teacher and Teachers Pay Teachers author. If you like my videos, please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment below. Today we are going to be talking about how to use simple small business accounting for your growing TpT store. All right, first I need to say I am not an accountant. I am not an accountant by any means, but I still have a lot of small business experience. I have a small business, and so I'm going to share what I know and what I'm doing with you. Depending on the size of your business or how fast your business is growing, you might need a more complete strategy than this. Okay, this is legit for really small starting out businesses. Never be afraid to take the next steps and start talking to an accountant. Okay, this article is supposed to help you get started understanding the process of small business accounting in a very simple way. All right, so I am not an accountant. So going from there, what is small business accounting? Every business, no matter how small it is, should be keeping track of all its money through small business accounting. Small business accounting is just the name for keeping track of all of the money. A lot of people who aren't accountants find it intimidating, but it's better to start learning on really early when it's very simple than to wait too long and it's super complicated. Okay. So my small business accounting experience, for 10 years, I was the office manager for my father's business. It gave me a lot of flexibility in my work hours, but I had to do all of the work. I tracked every bill payment, every bill. I did the payroll, I did the quarterly taxes. We did have a certified accountant review everything each quarter and at the annual taxes, which is good because I am not an accountant, but I did all of the day-to-day work. If your TpT business is small, you can probably manage all of that work yourself to start with. But as it grows, you want to have a really good record to share with an accountant. Because eventually, if your business grows like you want it to, you will need that expertise. Okay. So after my I started my TpT store in 2020. I had I had some sales in November and December of 2020 because I started in September. So I didn't even bother with 2020. In 2021, I was like, you know what? This is my business. I should probably keep track of things, right? Of course you should keep track of things. So after doing all of the small business accounting for my father, I knew I needed to have good records for my store. My business had been small enough that I didn't have to keep up the accounting every day, every week. I could do it, kind of sporadically because I kept it simple and because my store was small. So part of that is that I keep my expenses to a minimum, and I also use a separate account for everything TpT. I knew from the very beginning that I should not mix my personal and my business. There are a few, purchasing my website. I didn't have enough money in my TpT store yet to do that. So there are some reimbursable expenses there. But I knew that I should try to keep everything as separate as possible. But when you are starting out a new business, you are going to have to invest a little bit. However, you want to try to invest as much as possible from your business accounts. Try not to use your personal stuff. Okay. But keeping everything separate made things much easier for me. All right, in the accounting world, accounts payable and accounts receivable are very common terms. They're just common. You want to be familiar with them. Accounts payable is anything that is paid for your business. So anything that your business pays, okay? Any money that goes out into the world because of your business. So this could be the TpT premium fee. This could be your website, clip art, professional development, any of those expenses where you are purchasing something for the business. Accounts receivable is any payment that you receive. This can be simple or complex depending on how your business has grown. So your first accounts receivable transaction is probably from TpT. This is simply once a month payment, so that makes it super easy to keep track of. It's not like my father's business where we would get, 10 payments every week that we had to keep track of and make sure it went to the correct invoice and all of that. TpT, they send you, an amount every week, and that's what you know. Okay. You can, if you dive deep into your TpT records, you can find out like who the customers were and like the states that they're from. And if you wanted to either save that as a PDF or print it out for future records, that could be a smart idea. But as far as the payment that TpT is making to you, it is one payment once a month. So that's what I currently track, because again, I'm keeping it simple. But if you wanted to print that record or save it as a PDF, that could help your future self too. If your business is growing and you're earning a little more money, you might be getting money from your website. Like if you have a storefront on your website, your blog, your YouTube channel, Instagram, any other number of places. All of this income needs to be recorded, okay? If you are just starting out, I already told you that I did this. Use separate accounts for small business accounting. It takes time to grow your business big enough for an LLC or a corporation. When you become an official business with your state, you get a tax ID number. It's usually a 04 number, and that number will allow you to open a legitimate business bank account rather than a personal one. But you have to go through filing all the paperwork and paying the yearly fee to get that federal tax ID number. The sooner you do that, the better. However, it takes time to grow your business big enough to do that. So in my state, Massachusetts is a bit ridiculous. It's like a $500 initial fee and then a $500 annual fee. So the first year you want to become an LLC, it's like $1,000. In other states, I know that you can go to the Secretary of State site and they charge you like $150. So it's important to know how much your state charges for that, because if you can do it sooner rather than later, that would be great. Massachusetts is a little bit ridiculous in how much they charge for that. So that makes it tough. So if it's too much in your state, which I'm sure there are other states out there that it's way too much, use a separate account for everything. So I go through PayPal because it's easy to keep track of. It's easy to keep separate. I can pay for almost anything online with PayPal. TpT deposits right to my account. They've since then added more options, but I've just been like, you know what, PayPal is simple. I'm not making enough that PayPal is getting a huge fee from me. And I can get a card, so I can buy stuff in a brick and mortar store with a PayPal card. So I can keep my business separate from my personal. All right, what should you track for small business accounting? You should track everything in your business. Again, if you have a lot going on in your accounting, then it is a good idea to hire an accountant or to enlist a friend who could do the books for you. But you should track everything. You don't want to make a purchase from your own pocket if you can help it. You have your business buy everything. However, it's important to track all of these purchases so that you are prepared for taxes. Yes, taxes. Again, when it comes to taxes, quarterly taxes, annual taxes, you want to enlist the help of an accountant, but you want to be able to hand them good records. So track everything. You can invest in a software like QuickBooks. QuickBooks gets expensive. So you can probably just use a spreadsheet, especially if your business is small. You can probably just use a spreadsheet to keep track of everything. When you are tracking through a spreadsheet, you want to help your future self by be able to move to a more complex program as your business grows. It's not hard to do if you start from the beginning, and it's well worth it. So my spreadsheet is simple. It's done by date. Every date has, so like in the first column, you guys are over here. In the first column, it has the date, and in the second column, it's either there's an accounts payable and accounts receivable column. So I either put the transaction in one of those, and then every transaction is given a category and the amount. So I leave a space for notes, like the memo line of a check. So if I'm like, oh, what was that? I can read more detail about what it was. All right, so I just threw something else at you. Why do you need categories in small business accounting? So that's what I just threw at you, categories. For each type of financial transaction in your business, you want to create a category. This can sound intimidating. It is not. It is not, I promise. Some common categories are office expense. So if you buy pens, paper, if you're printing stuff, computer ink, that's office expenses. Professional development, if you've done any kind of online training that you've paid for that relates directly to your business, that's professional development. That should be paid for by your business, and you should record that you paid for it. Your accounts receivable, all of that money coming in, you should record it. So those are just some common categories. You have to think about what makes sense for your business. For each of these categories, you create a number. So when I was accounting in QuickBooks, I would, instead of typing office expense out, I would type the number that related to that expense. And it would bring up office expense, and I wouldn't have to type the whole thing. So you create a category number. It doesn't really matter what the number is. It doesn't matter what the number is. But it will make life much easier in your future accounting program if you have these numbers set up. I think a lot of businesses use 4 digits of numbers. I've been using 3 for my TpT store. Again, the number doesn't matter much. It's just a way to help you track things. So 100 is office expenses. 110 is professional development. 120 would be my next one for expenses. So I'm kind of doing like every 10 count. And then if I want to get more specific about office expenses, I might do 101 and do like office expense subcategories. But I wouldn't need to do that till I got to QuickBooks. So I'm keeping it simple. 100 is office expenses. And then I'm leaving myself some room, my future self, my 5 years from now self who is making much more money on TpT, by leaving that 10-digit gap. Now, my accounts receivable, I am starting at 200, and my accounts receivable TpT. When I start making money off my blog, it will be 210, and I'll put blog next to it, accounts receivable blog. So I'm leaving space for my business to grow by leaving gaps, and by just, I'm also making it easy for these categories to exist as my business grows. Now, these categories work for my business. It's pretty simple. Like I said, I keep it basic right now. I can see where the money is going by category, and when my business grows better, I will be ready for the accounting software, because that is what QuickBooks uses. It uses, and I'm saying QuickBooks just because that's what I've worked with. There are plenty of other options out there that are perfectly fine. But a lot of them use categories where you just type in the number and it fills in the category and information for you. All right, that's a lot of information. I want to again state I am not an accountant. I did work in a small business and keep the books from day to day and had an accountant check my work. Okay, so do not think that, like, if you ask me more than this, I'm not sure how much I'd be able to help you, but track everything, come up with a system that works for you, think about your future self. The goal of small business accounting doesn't have to be perfect because you are just starting out. Again, if your business is bigger, talk to an accountant. The goal of creating a solid financial is to create a solid financial record for your business. As your business grows and you have to talk to accountants, instead of handing them a shoebox of receipts and PDFs printouts, you want to be able to share with them an actual record of your financials of your business. If you don't want to become, if you don't want to hire an accountant, then you will have to become an expert and learn more about business finance. But you're trying to create a smart foundation to build your business off of. Clear, organized records are going to help you so much in the long term, so try to work on those records. You can even look at 2022, look at what TpT paid you, and try to start building something, okay? Because you might not have, it might not be too crazy, and you might be able to quickly fill out a spreadsheet and form and kind of figure it out. All right, if you have a question, leave it in the comments below. I might have an idea for you for an answer. I wish I was an accountant and an expert, but I know a lot of people need a video that provides some starting point. So that's what I'm offering here. I might tell you that it's better off to talk to an accountant, but don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question, and I hope that you guys have an awesome day.